So what is every second round pick worth
Come on.
in this 2023 rookie draft class? Well, that's what we're going to do for you today. From the 201 to the 212, we're going to give you real trade ideas for players who are already in the NFL and maybe advise to sell some players for picks.
That's right.
Do us a favor, drop a like on this video to show some support. I mean, we're diving into the second round. Who's doing that? Who's telling you what the 212 is worth in a video? I mean, there's probably people out there doing it, but show us some love, drop a like. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content, and I want you to comment down below if you have made a trade for a second round pick or have moved a second round pick. Let us know in the comments down below. That's going to give people a good reference point as we talk about some of these trades. And lastly, if you want rankings, articles, exclusives from us, go ahead and sign up to Flock Fantasy using our code LAND, L-A-N-D. There's a direct link in the description below, flockfantasy.com/land. That gets you 30% off. And also, if you sign up to the Mother Flocker tier, it unlocks this little thing called the Fantasy Hotline. Ooh. And if you have trades that you want to ask us directly about through a DM, you unlock that with the Fantasy Hotline.
Too easy, baby. Come on.
I'm going to do the odds. You're going to do the evens. Let's start at the 201, okay? So at the 201, let's talk about quarterback moves that you can make. And Badake, last time we did this video, because we did this video about a month ago, and we just want to see how values have changed now, because values do change, right? Picks become more valuable, less valuable.
That's right.
Oddly enough, Russell Wilson a month ago was the quarterback 17. He's the quarterback 24 today, and he's still worth the 201, apparently, according to the community. Now, I think Badake and I have been preaching this all offseason long, like, buy Russell Wilson for the 201. Yes, it was a bad year, but it was also poor coaching. They started to figure it out towards the end of the season, and Sean Payton is home. Like, it's okay. Right, baby. That is home. It's okay. Like, daddy's home. Gonna take care of you. That's weird. But anyway, look, you can still send the 201 in a super flex league. At least start a conversation. And, you know, before we go any further, we said this on the last video, and I think Keep Trade Cut gets way too much hate. Is it perfect? No, there is no perfect tool, Dynasty tool on the internet, because guess what? You and I, we don't think the exact same. Me and Badake, we don't think the exact same.
That's right.
But it is a combination of millions of people in the community coming together and giving their opinion. So is Keep Trade Cut perfect? No, but there is no perfect Dynasty trade calculator, and we are showing you these trades today to give you a reference point. It is a starting line, not a finish line. Every trade should have negotiations. I mean, that's just the reality of it. But
that's right.
Anyway, so seeing Russell Wilson is quarterback 24, he's still worth a 201. What does that indicate to us? Well, second round pick is, overall, people are probably lower on this class than they were a month ago, Badake. That's probably what we're noticing. Yeah. You and I still like this class. I still feel good about the 201 to 206 range, but overall, people are a little bit lower.
Yes.
All right, and the other option you could do at quarterback is Jared Goff. Now, maybe the 201 might get it done. Otherwise, like, I'm willing to even overpay. And like, if I'll give you 2 seconds, the 201 and the 206, to get a super flex quarterback that I feel very good about. Jared Goff, younger than a lot of these veterans that people have ranked ahead of him. The way I see it is this is Jared Goff's job for at least 2 years, unless they go draft a quarterback with the 6th overall pick this year. They've been very vocal in saying that, like, they're probably not doing that. They could do anything still, right? But, I mean, think about it. This team just missed out on the playoffs, barely. Defense is drastically improved through free agency. Jameson Williams and David Montgomery are coming into the fold. I mean, Goff could be an incredible fantasy option, and he's just like this name that was, like, his name was, look, excuse my French, I can't think of a better way to say it, but like shit on for like 2 or 3 years straight, you know?
Yeah.
And then last year he outperforms what anyone thought he could do. And it's like, oh wow. I mean, yeah, that was good. If he could do that every year, I mean, he could be a starter for a while.
Exactly.
If you need running back, I'm most likely sticking with this pick, Badake, unless I can do 2 moves, because there's a lot of running backs I like at the 201 in this year's draft. Tajay, Abanikanda, Evans, Tucker, A-Chain, who gets the draft capital, right? But there's 2 options that I could really consider here. Miles Sanders at the 201. Apparently it's possible. I don't think that, like, I would be willing to pay like the 111, 112 if I need to. But I mean, think about it. Great contract. We did not expect a running back to get this type of contract this offseason. No competition in the backfield with a rookie quarterback. They are very likely to establish the run early and often in Carolina, and Miles Sanders will be the one doing that for them. And then David Montgomery, who, funnily enough, the last time we did this video, Badake, I was telling you guys to send the 209 and the 211 to go get Monty. Hopefully you went and did that like myself and took advantage of it, because now the price point has changed. Okay. What was that girl from LSU saying after they won the national championship? Price went up. Price went up. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
I would still pay this for Monty. I would still pay the 201. Apparently it's an overpay.
Mm-hmm.
I see Monty and Miles Sanders value very similarly. Oddly enough, like Monty's like a month younger. But I've been out on Swift for a while, okay, for quite some time this offseason. I thought Jamal Williams, when he took over that role, Swift played the perfect complementary role, and the offense was looking great. And clearly, the Lions, in my opinion, don't ever have plans to make him a workhorse, Swift that is, unless Monty is injured. So I fully anticipate Monty playing the Jamal Williams role. Look, if there's running backs, there's other running backs out there that I would trade and like have the 201 as the centerpiece. I just don't think anyone's doing it, but I just wanted to throw it out there in case your leagues, it's possible. Like J.K. Dobbins, Dameon Pierce, those two names, if you can center a trade around the 201, then I would be interested in doing that. Again, I don't think that will happen. And lastly, on the running backs that I would sell to get the 201, Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry. For Isaiah Pacheco, just betting on that draft capital eventually not lasting long-term in fantasy. It's a fun story. I'm a Chiefs fan. I like Pacheco, but historically it's hard to bet against or bet on a 7th-round pick. Derrick Henry, I just don't see his value getting higher than this. Like, you're not getting a first-round pick ever. Like, Derrick Henry could come out, Badake, this year, have a top 5 season at the position. You're not getting a first-round pick for him. You know, like, it's just not happening. No one's doing it. Unless they're brand new to Dynasty and they don't understand. If you need wide receivers, couple options here. Deontay Johnson for the 201. Keep in mind, Deontay Johnson was the wide receiver 31 the last time we made this video, and I suggested to do the same trade. He's now the wide receiver 34. And this is a player who, it was a very down year. He scored no touchdowns. My biggest sell all last offseason, 3 names, Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore, Najee Harris. I'm all in on buying Deontay Johnson now this offseason. He was 16th in targets per game at 8.6 last year, 147 total targets. I do anticipate George Pickens taking a bigger piece of that pie this year, but still, Deontay Johnson we know he's a good wide receiver. He has proven that, and he's heavily involved in their offense. And then the other one I would suggest is Calvin Ridley. I've been betting on Calvin Ridley for, years now. With his value, and I still think he's a value. And if you need a tight end, last thing I'll say with the 201 before we go to Badake here, I don't want to trade the 201 for a tight end. Like, I don't think there's a tight end there, and I personally still think it's probably too early in a non-tight end premium to take one of these, like Mayer, Kincaid. Like, maybe if they go to the perfect landing spot, the Cowboys in the first round, for example, and they're just taking over that Dalton Schultz role. But I don't want to draft the tight end at the 201. I'd rather trade back and just take, like, okay, you miss out on Mayer, but if Kincaid goes early second or late first, just take Kincaid at the 205 or, so anyway, that's all I'll say on the 201. What's up at the 202?
I hear you with the tight end room. All right, in the quarterback room.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to quickly tell people about a couple trades I saw online on my Twitter.
Okay.
Just a couple that popped up. So shout out to D Vasquez. He sent this trade in, and I have to be honest, I like the other side. Or I'm assuming he didn't get Tua. But in this trade, someone got Tua in a super flex league. They sent Mac Jones, the 201, and Hunter Henry. And like, in my mind, people might look at that as an overpay for Tua. I would pay that every day of the week. Right. So in a super flex league, like, those are the type of packages that some of you guys might be able to put together. Again, it's not perfect, but I just wanted to show that. Another trade I wanted to show is someone who I think they sent away their 110. And they got the 201, the 202, and the 301. This is a dangerous trade because if the player that you want to fall at the 201 is not there, then you would have preferred the 110. Because the 110, you're in the range of the Addison, Johnstons, Zay Flowers. You got to hope that Josh Downs ends up with good draft capital here to make this trade. But it's risk versus reward. I just want to show you guys the trades that were happening in the community. So on to the 202, my bad.
No, you're good. All right, at the 202... quarterback, Zach kind of touched on it with Russell Wilson. You can even get him at the 202. I think you could probably even squeeze in the 203, depending on the league. Like Zach is right. Russell is falling. I would also say if you're in a win-now situation, you want a quarterback that's kind of just been consistent, Maybe you need a good QB2, whatever the case may be. I personally wouldn't do this, but according to the community, you can, right? It's Kirk Cousins for the 202. If you need a quarterback, maybe someone's injured, whatever the case may be, maybe you have a win now window. Kirk Cousins can be a decent QB2. And the last quarterback I want to talk about, and I think it could be a little bit controversial, is Brock Purdy here for the 202. I've personally been saying we need to pivot off of, Brock and Trey, get whatever you can for it. Brock right now going for the 202. He went undrafted. You probably picked him off waiver wise. No matter what, you're winning right now. Okay, is he going to win the job? Is he going to not win the job? We don't know. But right now, all we know is that reports is he is going to be the starting quarterback. But I'm happy to get the 202. That can be Zay Flowers. That can be the Michael Mayer. That can be the Josh Downs, wide receiver that I personally like and believe in the longevity, right, of their career.
And not saying he goes top 40.
Yeah, exactly. Not saying that Brock Purdy doesn't have the window. I'm saying he does have the window, but he's still going into a 50-50 thing where why would I hold on to a 50-50 thing when I can get 100% Zay Flowers on the field, wide receiver 1, hypothetically, or Josh Downs, wide receiver 2, with 70% workload. I think that's just a little bit more. That's something that I would personally do in this scenario here at the 202 for if you need a quarterback. Running backs here, Zach kind of touched on Isaiah Pacheco. I'm willing to sell Isaiah Pacheco just like Zach here for the 202, so that's a window. Another guy I'm willing to trade away. I think we might see this a little bit differently. That's Rachaad White for the 202. So if I can send Rachaad White for the 202, I'm really happy. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable doing it vice versa. If this team drafts another running back in the 4th or the 30, I think they can come in and take away some opportunities from Rachaad White. So I'm kind of like the 201. I'm happy to stick here with Tucker, Izzy, Spears, whoever these guys are that we believe in the second round. I think I'd rather have him over Rachaad White if they do get the draft capital, a better draft capital than Rachaad White. Okay, so I think that really all depends on draft capital. Wide receivers here. Couple guys I think you can definitely, once again, I'm happy to trade away. My first guy, I would say Mike Williams. A lot of people still believe in Mike with Justin Herbert. I was going to say Hunter Renfrow as a quarterback with Mike Williams with Justin Herbert. Look, I know it's a win now window, right? You probably drafted him last year in your startup, maybe in the 5th, 4th round. I would say from 4th to 6th round there, believing in the Mike Williams next step, but the injuries really hurt. 28 years old. I know he got the contract extension. I'm once again rather invest in one of these younger wide receivers, the Downs, the Zays, whoever that may be here at the 202. And another guy is Rashad Bateman. I'm happy to trade for Rashad Bateman or trade away Rashad Bateman. I know with Lamar Jackson, there is a massive limbo right now. What can you do? What's going to happen? So this may be okay, I still believe in Lamar Jackson staying. I'm going to go trade for Rashad Bateman type vibe here for the 202. So that's exactly what I would do. And I agree with Zach. I don't know if there's a tight end personally that I want to keep. I'm happy to trade back. I'm happy to stick it at the 202 for me personally, with Mayer, Laporta, Musgrave, Kincaid, if they do get the draft capital. And if all the other people down the board don't get the draft capital that I was expecting, maybe it's the best case scenario to get a tight end. Just all depends on the draft. But that's exactly what I would do here at the 202. Yeah. The 203.
All right, let's talk about the 203, and let's talk about quarterback first. I mean, just firstly, like Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy. I didn't bring Kirk Cousins just because I agree in the sense, like, if you're a win now team, great. But he feels like he's not getting the Matthew Stafford treatment because, like, he wasn't injured last year. Like, if Matthew Stafford wasn't injured last year, he's probably playing just as good as Kirk Cousins for fantasy. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
What worries me with Kirk Cousins is the team has been positioning themselves to move off him for like multiple years now. Like it's like these small little contracts where like, hey, if we're in a position to get another guy, he's definitely coming in. But here's a 1-year extension. So like Cousins and Purdy were, me with Purdy and Lance, just like I don't know what to do, so I don't want to risk. Like you guys might see it as a buy low.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an option. I'm glad that you brought it up. I just wanted to say why I didn't talk about them. And again, here at the 203, unfortunately, it looks like it's lost a little bit of value since we last did this video. But again, Badaki, I am hearing, and I'm not saying that people are wrong, but I am hearing a lot on YouTube and a lot on Twitter that this second round is very weak. And I just don't feel that way. I just don't feel that way. Like I still feel like if I have the 201 to the 204 or so, I'm in a really good spot to get a quality player, like a genuine quality player this year. But anyway, let's talk about quarterbacks. Last time we did this video, Jordan Love. This was the price point.
Yep.
And again, similar to, funnily enough, Badaki, like similarly to Calvin Ridley, this is a guy I've been saying to buy for years. And now, like, the price points are getting a little bit, like, your window might have closed.
Yeah.
But Mac Jones is an option. And I don't want to do it, but I just wanted to tell you that Mac Jones is an option.
Brother
To be
Mac.
fair, like, Mac Jones isn't even 25 years old. Like, he'll be younger than some of the rookies that come in. I'm not saying that's the top 4, but just in general. So this is an option for you. If you're someone like me who is like, you know what, Mac Jones has had a rough go. Who has he had around him to succeed with? Like genuinely bad. Like he's had a defensive mind as an offensive coordinator. Right? They're bringing in his old head coach, I believe, from Bama, and hopefully they're going to draft him a weapon. Like respectfully, who has Mac Jones had? Like we give all this grace to Justin Fields, and it's like Mac Jones is terrible. But he's had no one to throw the ball to. And anyone out there, if you're going to comment, say, well, he's had Jacoby Myers, that's a problem.
Don't sleep on Jacoby.
That's a problem when our standard is Jacoby Myers. So anyway, like I think like this is a good risk reward if you need like a desperate quarterback too, and you want to take a shot here. Because if Hendon Hooker Badaki actually goes first round, you're probably not getting him at the 203.
No.
Like, just be honest with yourself. Ideally, you could get Geno Smith here, but I don't think you can. I don't think that you could do that anymore. But I would definitely do that. All right, at running back, Joe Mixon, still on the team. We've talked about this all offseason. Still on the team. All that nonsense about, what happened at his house is behind him. Now, the only way Joe Mixon is not the starter for this team is if the Bengals go out there and draft a running back in the second or third round. That is the only way that we're questioning Joe Mixon's role in 2023. And this is the definition of risk reward. Sending the 203 for Joe Mixon. Apparently the 203 is worth more than Joe Mixon. I don't think it is. But if Joe Mixon escapes this draft with no competition, he will have been the most overlooked player the entire offseason.
Yeah,
so you have to decide if the risk reward is worth it.
I agree.
This is no brainer range for David Montgomery as well, kind of like that 201 to 203 range. And personally, I know what we've been on opposite sides here about Rachaad White. We were on opposite sides last time we recorded this video. I think this is great value. Like I truly still think this is very good value for Rachaad White. I'm doing this all day. And again, I'm going to come back to this. This is like, if you need running back and you have the 203, this is exactly what you're hoping to draft this year at the 203. A running back who has established himself with a team we know is good. And not only that, but since we recorded that last video, his head coach, Todd Bowles, has literally come out and said, nah, we want that guy being a 3-down back. That guy, we want to be a 3-down back for us. In fact, he's only gone down one spot in rankings. He was 22 last time, 21 last time, 22 now. So to me, again, I'm happy to be wrong here, but it's a running back that is a great pass catcher, proved himself to be a really reliable running back last year with, when you saw Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White on the field, it was like seeing two different sides of the galaxy. Like one guy who's like, let's put those knees away, bro. Like those knees need a rest, my guy.
We saw an extra large and a medium. That's what we saw on the video.
But Rachaad White had that juice. Like he looked good. His numbers were good. And yes, he won't be the same PPR asset because Tom Brady's gone. But still, I like Rachaad White here. Like I feel like this is the ideal scenario. Guy, I believe he got 3rd round, 4th round draft capital. That's what you're kind of hoping for if you're getting a running back here. You're hoping Sean Tucker gets this draft capital. You're hoping Zach Evans gets this capital and has this lack of competition ahead of him. So like I'm in on Rachaad at this price. I'm in. I think it's good value. And the last two ones that I want to bring you at the running back position is like, you guys tell me in the comments below. What do you think? Is it time to sell Dalvin? Do you want to sell Dalvin for the 203? He'll be 28 this year. Dalvin, I'm a little bit less like on board for selling, but how about Aaron Jones? Like he'll be 28, 29. by this time next year, I can promise you, Aaron Jones is going to be worth more next year, next offseason. So you have to decide, like, if you are not competing, it's time to move on. If you're competing, you might as well hold. And that the wide receiver position, I agree with Badake, like Bateman. This is a great Bateman range. And I'll say, like, I'll put my stamp on it. Like, I'm 100% paying the 203 for Bateman. Like, I have no questions personally. I think what you can hold on to is when Bateman was healthy, he was incredible. Like, there's no debating that. When he was healthy, he looked great. And outside of that, I don't feel like there's any perfect matches for like picks and players. And I still feel the same way about tight ends. Like, I don't want to spend the 203 on a tight end. I feel like if I hit on a wide receiver, if I hit on a quarterback, a running back, it's going to give me more value this time next year than if I draft the tight end and they get, 30 receptions for 300 yards and a touchdown, on the season. So,
I agree.
Last thing I wanted to say is a couple of trades I saw that were sent to me. Shout out to Oliver. He actually bought Rashad Bateman. He sent the 203. So you guys can see that that's possible in some leagues. And then someone bought the 203. And I want you to tell me how you feel about this, Badake. But he sent away Kareem Hunt, who looks like he has no value anymore, by the way. I mean, he could be like a surprise, like, oh, Kareem Hunt signed with the Chiefs. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Or the Bengals cut Joe Mixon and Kareem Hunt signed on a one-year deal, But he got the 203 and he sent Kareem Hunt and Cam Akers. You're a Cam Akers guy. Do you feel like you would hold Cam Akers or the 203 there and adding Kareem Hunt as kind of like this insurance policy almost?
I think it's an even trade. I think you feel like you get more on the Cam Akers side. I think I am going to talk about Cam Akers at the 204, actually. So, 206, I think. So I think he got he got more value with that pick selling Cam Akers because I think you can get Cam Akers later on in that with that. So you
like the 203?
I do like the 203 for Cam Akers.
I kind of agree because like Kareem Hunt has no hold or value right now.
Exactly.
Like it's weird that he's not signed anywhere. But anyway.
Yeah, I would definitely agree there. Okay, 204 for me. Quarterbacks. The first person I would say is, once again, if you're in a win now window, want to get a quarterback for the year. And I do believe this team probably will draft a quarterback, but if they don't, you feel really confident in this window, and that's Geno Smith, right? So if you want to do that, you can. I think this is the range where the quarterback's really, really full, at least for me, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if there's anyone else after Geno, Mac Jones that I really want to invest in until the late second round. So it's either you need a quarterback.
And can I just say real quick, like, sorry to interrupt. I just don't think that people are going to give Geno for the 204 anymore.
As in, like, they want more?
They want more.
Okay, well.
Like, maybe. I think, like, the people who have Geno held him or they got him off the waiver wire, and he was, like, the most efficient quarterback last year, just got a 3-year extension,
I can definitely
see that. Those people are like, I'm not getting a better quarterback here. You know?
And you can, and according to Keep Trade Cut, technically Geno's more, so you definitely need to spice it up a little bit, right? It's not just a 204 for Geno, so you definitely have to throw something in. But I think if you can throw an extra late, like a 212, a 302, or whatever the case may be, whatever, or a small person, a Kareem Hunt, whoever they believe in, I'm happy to do that, right? To get Geno, that can help me win. But yes, this is kind of the fall of the quarterbacks after Geno. There's no one really that I want to invest in or get, I mean, I think there is a couple win now quarterbacks, but once again, later on in the second round, I believe you can go and get them. All right, running backs. Aaron Jones, I bought him as a win now guy. I think this is a window where you can, I think it's from the 204 to the 206. I feel really comfortable getting an Aaron Jones. We saw what he's done with Aaron Rodgers. And when now going with Jordan Love, they might have to lean on the run game a little bit more. So I think this is a good win now trade if you wanted to, if the running backs don't get the capital that you want, the Tuckers, the Izzies, the Spears. Maybe you need an extra running back for the year and you rather sell the 202 and you have a first in 2024, right? You just need to get an RB. Aaron Jones, I'm really happy to do that there. Another running back I'm bringing here, Tyler Algier for the 204 for Tyler Algier. I'm happy to send Tyler Algier for the 204. He's another running back that kind of falls into the Isaiah Pacheco window, saying, well, I really believe this team is going to be drafting a running back earlier. The Falcons the Falcons, do they get a Bijan, right? There's a lot of people saying the Falcons can get a Bijan, or they trade back, or whatever the case may be. Can they get a Sharby in the second, a Jahmyr Gibbs in the second? I don't know what that is, but Tyler Algier is going to be no more after that, right? So if you can get the 204 and get one of these wide receivers, one of these tight ends, one of these running backs to kind of, just get away with the dead weight from Tyler Algier, I'm really happy to do that there. For the wide receivers, got some old guys, got some old heads here, some veterans. Mike Williams, you can trade away for the 204. He is a guy that I'd rather trade away, right? I don't want to trade for Mike Williams. He was also a guy I brought to sell high or sell, get any value that you can, because I don't trust in Baker Mayfield. If they do get a quarterback, that's great, but Mike Williams
is Mike Evans?
Mike Evans, sorry, I keep saying Mike Williams. Mike Evans is 29 years old. Right, he's gonna be 30 years old. Is he really gonna want to be playing with Baker Mayfield or this young rookie quarterback? He's seen success with other quarterbacks, and with Jameis Winston and all these bad quarterbacks. But still, I don't want to lean on that. Right, depending on who's at the 204, I'm willing to do that and trade away Mike Evans in a win now perspective, to a win now team. And that's the same thing for. This is the complete opposite now for the next guy, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm happy to trade for DeAndre Hopkins for the 204. Because if he does go to the Chiefs, if he does go to the Bills, and he is this wide receiver 2 or whatever the case may be for these teams, or the wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs, I'm pumped. He goes to the Giants, right? I'm pumped about it. And I'm happy to go, once again, in a win-now window to acquire DeAndre Hopkins. So just really kind of take that as you wish, whether you want to trade him away. I think for DeAndre Hopkins, I'd rather hold than trade away, where Mike Williams, I'm happy to trade away for the 204 right now. And I would just echo the same thing once again. Tight ends, you either get your tight end here or you just trade back, if there's somebody else better at the 204 position.
Totally hear you there. Let's go on to the 205 here. Only really one quarterback that I want to talk to you guys about. And to me, if you are competing, at the end of the day, I just think it's very unlikely that you're going to find a quarterback if you're a competing team and you need a quarterback 2 or quarterback 3.
Yeah.
I don't see a scenario in which you find a better quarterback than what Aaron Rodgers brings to you here with 205 value. So if you're competing, probably only plays about 2 years with the Jets, but still I would be willing to pay that for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's a very realistic chance with what they put around Aaron Rodgers, we could see like MVP type numbers again. It's a very realistic chance in my opinion. Outside of that, maybe you use this pick to go get Hendon Hooker. Let's say Hendon Hooker goes late second if he falls this far. Okay, if you need a running back, it's a weird spot. I'll be honest with you. Like the 205 is a really weird spot. James Cook looks like an option, but you guys tell me in the comments below. Personally, like for me, like after Damian Harris's arrival, I almost feel like when you look at production versus price, Damian Harris is the better buy at this point. And James Cook could establish himself and just put all those rumors to bed. But to me, like I think Damian Harris right now is like the 212 or 301 price tag right now still. And I think that's the better buy. Let me know where people stand. And then let's talk about A.J. Dillon. You guys let me know again in the comments below. Is A.J. Dillon worth the 205? Are you going to just hold on to him and hope that maybe when the Aaron Rodgers era is over, A.J. Dillon takes the next step? I mean, he'll be 25 soon. So when he is a free agent, I think he'll be 26. Like what hasn't really proven that he can be a workhorse, but hasn't been given the opportunities. So again, that's the price point right now. And then I would be cashing in on Khalil Herbert here. If you can get anywhere from the 205 to the 207, yes, give me that. Again, what you invested in Khalil Herbert is nowhere near this price. So cash in on that. Make money on your investment. At the wide receiver position, Badake, you're going to like this. Is it free Elijah Moore season?
Oh, man, it's been free Elijah Moore for the past 3 years, my guy. So I'm here.
Well, we're finally stepping into the freedom maybe part.
Yeah, exactly.
I would send the 205 for Elijah Moore now. Badake and I mean, Badake's been very vocal. This is his guy. But I also have agreed in the sense that like he is a talented player stuck in a really weird situation. Like just bad vibes. Was bad vibes from sophomore year all the way through. So I would be willing to pay for this. I really like how Elijah Moore complements Amari Cooper. I think he's the perfect 2 in the slot there for that team. And here at the 205, let's assume Kincaid, Musgrave get top 45, top 50 draft capital. All right, let's look at drafting one of these guys here. If there's no good running back options on the board, what are we doing at the 206?
Yeah, we can completely agree here. For quarterbacks, once again, Hooker, if Hooker's available, draft him. If not, you trade out. I don't wanna. I know Zach brought an Aaron Rodgers. I'm fading it. Maybe I'm trying to trade for another quarterback, or maybe I'm tanking that year and trying to get a 24 first somehow, some way. Not for the two.
So, but if you're competing team, because that was the context.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're competing team, do you think you're getting a better option with the 205?
If you're a competing team, no, you're not. There's no way there is, personally, but I would agree. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best one out there.
And I would just say, like, lastly, I feel like Kirk Cousins at his price point versus Aaron Rodgers' price point, to me, Aaron Rodgers is a better buy.
Absolutely. I just think, once again, it just falls significantly here until you get to the end. The middle one here, I feel like from 204 to 208, in my opinion, I'm not trying to get any quarterback. Like, I'm not trying to trade those picks away for any quarterback outside of a win now window.
I agree.
That's what I would say. Running backs here. This is where we kind of talk about Cam Akers, right? I am a Cam Akers believer. I'm really happy to trade for Cam Akers for the 206, or happy to trade the 20. Actually, I'm happy just to trade for Cam Akers at the 206. And the other price point that you brought, which I'm pretty sure was a 203, I'm happy to trade away Cam Akers, hoping and believing that, those running backs in that area do get the draft capital and the landing spot that we really like here. But at the 206, I really enjoy drafting for Cam Akers, or trading for Cam Akers and acquiring him on my team. I think you touched on Khalil Herbert, if I'm not mistaken. Khalil Herbert, I'm willing to trade away, Absolutely, you got to cash in here at the 206. Another guy, I believe people love him. I think I personally can get even higher than this at the 206. I think you can go.
Yeah, the range is like
squeeze.
the 203 to 206.
Yeah, 203 to 206, because there is a massive Khalil Herbert community that believes that he is going to be the workhorse here, and we just don't believe that here at Dynasty Land. So please trade him away if you can, because I just don't see it. If you need a wide receiver, or you want to, I think if you need a wide receiver, I think this would be a great spot in a win now window to trade for Keenan Allen. A good veteran guy. If they don't draft another wide receiver, or if they do draft a wide receiver, I think it's going to take another year for Keenan to kind of maybe fade out. And then at the beginning of the 2024 season, that's exactly when Keenan will be done. But at the moment, it looks like Keenan's going to be wide receiver one. He's back. He's healthy. These hamstrings are definitely a problem. That's why it's only for a win now window for here at the 206. So if you can get him, I'm really happy with that. And tight ends, once again, you get the Luke Musgraves, the Kincaids, the Laportas, or you trade back to also get one of these other guys as well.
Yeah. All right. At the 207, we're on a roll now.
Here we go.
This is the Jimmy G price range. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to pay it. I don't want to pay the 207 for Jimmy G. I'm just going to be honest with you. I guess that makes it a sell. Like, I guess that makes Jimmy a sell for the 207. It's weird. Like, the contract looks more and more like a 1-year deal when you dive into it.
100%. Yeah.
And I would argue that if they do draft a Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, you're not getting the 207. But I think regardless, Jimmy will start this year. Maybe you hold on to him. You tell me. At the running back spot, what the hell do we do with Alvin Kamara, right? Like, I don't think the 207 is too much to pay, but in the same exact breath, I don't really want any part of Alvin Kamara in Dynasty. Like, it's like this two-sided sword where it's like you're losing either way. I don't really know. Again, maybe you just avoid that. Really weird range when it comes to running backs. I mean, honestly, I think I'm probably just taking a shot on the best running back available on the board. Right? Is that this year's Damian Pierce? Is that this year's Brian Robinson? Tyler Algier, for example. If you need a wide receiver, and I need to make a video about this player soon, but I'm all in on Sky Moore's price tag. I am all in, baby. The price was too high last year, and honestly, it was too high most of the season, even when he wasn't performing. I still think Sky Moore is set up to be a great slot wide receiver in the NFL within this offense. The difficult part is that over the middle of the field right now, guys, that's being dominated, rightfully so, by Travis Kelce. But I think that Sky Moore, I mean, you've heard it from the coaching staff. We saw it in the Super Bowl that he's going to continually get more and more involved But still not even 23 years old, 22 and a half.
Right.
And I will take, I like the capital, I like the team, and I like the opportunity ahead of him. Like if Tony can't stay healthy, like, it's almost like to me between Tony and Sky, both are great buys right now, but Sky's the cheaper option.
Let me tell you,
Um,
Tony won't stay healthy. I'll tell you that.
you're just a hater,
I'll
and we
tell you
all
that
know
right
that.
now.
Sell Jacoby Myers, guys. Sell Jacoby Myers. He is worth the 207. Where does his fantasy value come in this offense? Honestly, like I know Darren Waller is gone, but Devontae Adams is not losing targets to Jacoby Myers. And guess what? Darren Waller wasn't healthy most last offseason anyway. You have a very similar player there already in Hunter Renfrow. Like, I know the contract's there. I could be completely missing it. I just do not think Jacoby Myers is going to be a fantasy superstar in Las Vegas. And if you need a tight end, again, I think this is a great spot. Go with a rookie tight end here. This is the great range: Musgrave, Kincaid, Laporta if the capital is right, Washington, Kraft. You could probably get some of those names in the third, but you know what I'm saying. Like best available tight end.
Yeah, best available tight end. Okay, at the 208. I know I'm saying I'm definitely fading quarterbacks, but I did want to bring somebody because I did think that once again, if you're in a win now window, you can potentially do this. I think you can go at the 209, maybe the 2010 feels a little bit better. Matthew Stafford, if you're in a win now window, this is a little bit of like an overpay according to Keep Trade Cut. But if there's no one there at the 208 and this class is really bad as everyone says, and no one's got the draft capital, maybe I had to go get a Stafford here at the 208. Once again, only if in the win now window, not doing this in any other scenario. You go best player available there for your quarterback. Running back, I agree. I echo you with Alexander Madison. I'm pretty sure you did mention him. I also brought him up here in my
Not yet, but I think that would be my next one. But I agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So Alexander Madison is a guy that another belief of people that really, really believe that Alexander Madison is going to be this guy, kind of like Khalil Herbert. So I'm happy to trade away Alexander Madison. A guy that you did bring up, Brian Robinson.
Last time. I haven't talked about him today.
You brought him up just before. You was like, you'd rather sell. Or I guess you didn't bring him up, but you kind of hinted about like you brought up his name.
Yeah,
you brought
like
up his name.
You could find that in this class. Okay.
I'm a Brian Robinson believer. Okay. I do believe Brian Robinson is going to get the workload, a bigger workload coming into this year. So if I can get Brian Robinson for the 208, if those running backs, once again, didn't get the draft capital or I'm just outside of that, can I trade the 208 for Brian Robinson? Because I think he's going to be the goal line guy. He's going to be the first and second down punch guy. Maybe they do draft a better. I think they will personally draft a better Antonio Gibson, a third down running back, a pass catching running back, where Brian Robinson gets the majority of the first and second and goal line work. So that's why I'm a big believer in Brian Robinson. So I would definitely do that for the 208 in the running back room. Okay, wide receivers, I agree. Sky Moore, I'm happy to buy Sky Moore as well. So I think you can also probably do that for the 208. I did bring Jacoby Myers as well. I'm happy to take a risk for Jacoby if once again the wide receivers aren't there. So I would say I agree. Where is he going to lose the targets? How is he going to get the targets with Devontae Adams there? But I do believe they probably like him better than Hunter Renfrow. And I do believe he will probably fit in the slot a little bit better than Hunter Renfrow, which will be on the outside. That's how I'm envisioning it. I could be wrong here, but that's how I'm projecting Kobe Myers. And I know he gets the contract, but after 2023, maybe it's too early now, right? Maybe this is too high of a price, but maybe after 23, we're having the same conversation for like the 305 for Jacoby Myers and saying, you know what? Maybe that's the window. So keep that in mind. And I think this is where I'm happy to go trade for a tight end, a win now tight end, a Darren Waller right now, going for the 208. If you have that window, Danny Dimes there. If they don't draft a wide receiver, Darren Waller is clearly going to be the number one target there, right, for this offense if he can stay healthy. So if he can stay healthy, stay on the field, and you need a tight end, I'm happy to do the 208 in the win now window. If not, I'm still once again happy to draft all these younger tight ends coming into the league at the 208.
Yeah, agreed. All right, at the 209, I think this is the range where you can take a shot on some of these quarterbacks who didn't get good draft capital, but they have a chance to prove themselves here, most likely in 2023, a la Sam Howell. Okay, I think this is one of the best risk rewards right now in a super flex league. likely to be the starter. And I think what is constantly underlooked for Sam Howell is his rushing upside. His last year in Carolina, North Carolina, guys, he lost De'Ami Brown, Javonte Williams, Michael Carter. He lost basically his entire offense outside of Josh Downs. Okay. And he had to adjust. He put up 828 rushing yards and 11 rushing touchdowns in that season of college football. And if you look at his only start versus the Cowboys, he was active on the ground, 35 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Like, there's a realistic chance that Sam Howell puts up, if he starts every game, 600 rushing yards and let's say 6 rushing touchdowns. Like, there's a realistic chance that Sam Howell might be a better fantasy quarterback than a real life quarterback. But, you know, it's like, imagine if you got Marcus Mariota's production last year, but he was 23 years old. The price tag would have been so much higher in season that you could sell him. And then the Falcons with Desmond Ridder. To me, both of these guys, I don't think either of them have job security. But again, with this late of a pick, I think you're kind of like just betting on a Brock Purdy situation, like a quarterback that you did not expect to be successful. And okay, they figured it out here in the NFL. He wasn't incredible. He started 4 games, but if you look at all 4 games, first start was versus the Saints. Last start was versus the Bucks. I mean, he improved every game. I mean, the completion percentage went up, efficiency went up, and then he finally put some touchdowns on the board versus the Bucks, who, granted, didn't have all their starters out there. But I think it's worth the shot. If you need a running back, again, like, it's funny, this time last month when we did this video is when I was telling you to buy David Montgomery. But yeah, there's no obvious running back here to me. Otherwise, like I said last time, I'm trying to hit on like this year's Dameon Pierce, Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson. If you need a wide receiver and you're competing, I think this is a great Tyler Lockett range.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett is younger than DeAndre Hopkins, you know, and he's putting up better numbers than him last year. Like, I don't understand why Tyler Lockett is more affordable than DeAndre Hopkins right now in the community. Sky Moore. This is Sky Moore's range as well. I would pay it happily. And again, if you need tight end, you know the drill. You know what to do here at the 209. It's the same thing I've said since the 205.
Yeah, completely agree here. All right, 210. I did bring Sam Howell, so I do really like that take. I'm happy. I think the 210, this is where I feel comfortable going Sam Howell, the Desmonds, all those guys, all these quarterbacks that are going to be in question coming into the season. I'm really happy to kind of take a chance here. I mean, I wouldn't put Kyle Trask in this. I think you can get him for cheaper. But if he's a starting quarterback,
I just think it's Baker.
Yeah, I would think it's Baker as well. But somehow he wins it out. Maybe his fantasy value rises at least to the end of the second here. Not saying I would do that. Just saying maybe there's Kyle Trask believers out there. If you need a running back, I'd say Rashad Penny. I know there's a couple of Rashad Penny believers out there. I know you like Rashad Penny. I don't know if you would do this, but I'm happy to trade away Rashad Penny for the 210. I don't want anything to do with him. I don't believe in that he's going to be the starting running back there in Philly. I do believe Philly's going to draft another running back. Even if he is the running back there and he is healthy, I do believe Kenneth Gainwell, Bolton Scott is all going to be in a rotation and take opportunities away from him. And he's never played a full season healthy. So I'm personally happy to trade Rashad Penny for the 210 and just take a flyer on any other of these rookie running backs or wide receivers here at the 210. If you need a wide receiver, there's a couple guys. Juju Smith is now with the New England Patriots. If the Patriots don't draft a wide receiver, do you take a chance on Juju here? Are we excited about Juju? How do you feel about Juju coming into the season? It's hard to gauge, right? Like,
just one word. Nah.
I mean, Juju has been this up and down roller coaster saying he could be fantasy relevant. He's not fantasy relevant. Now he's a Super Bowl winning wide receiver with the Kansas City Chiefs. Who would have thought, right? But I'm happy to trade. I'm happy to take a chance on Juju Smith at the 210 if the Parker Washingtons aren't there anymore. You know, the Xavier Hutchinsons are all off the board, which I do believe they go in the middle of the round. And the Marvin Mims, if they're all off the board somehow, I'm happy to take a swing on Juju Smith, but that's not something I'm always going to be doing. Just depends on your board. Wan'Dale Robinson as well, a guy that I absolutely love. You know, my New York Football Giants. The 210 here, a slot receiver that I do believe he's going to be a big part of this offense. Second round pick last year, so they drafted him for a reason, and that's exactly what they want. These small little slot wide receivers, and Wan'Dale Robinson will be ready, according to his reports, that that he will be ready for week 1. Tight end, once again, if you like, draft one of those other tight ends. But I'm willing to take a chance here at a Cole Kmet, right? Justin Fields, this offense gets better, at least that's the expectation. A better offensive line. If they do draft a tight end, unlucky. But I think Cole Kmet is definitely a big part of this offense. This one last time you take a chance with Cole Kmet here at the 210, I would say, why not take the swing for it?
I need to be. All right, let's go to the 211 here. I think, again, this is Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder range as well. But at the running back spot, I like this. This is a great running back spot. Firstly, Jamal Williams is like a no-brainer here to me. The 211, like, it's just so unrealistic that you're getting a running back that's going to give you better production for the next 2 years there. And to me, Antonio Gibson, I agree that if they draft a running back who's obviously a pass catcher, it could hurt him. But on the opposite side of that, I still believe today he is the more talented running back in that backfield between he and Brian Robinson. And honestly, I think we could have a career year here in the air. I truly think that Antonio Gibson could be completely unlocked in Eric Bieniemy's offense. I am seeing that Jerick McKinnon role, and I get it. Patrick Mahomes isn't in Washington, but you have success. You try and implement that success, as you move around with different teams. We know that that's how coaching staffs work.
Yeah.
Here's what I have. Here's what I've done. How can I implement it? But I think that if Antonio Gibson, and it feels like it's happening to me, if he steps into that full-time pass catcher role, I mean, imagine what he could do with the opportunities McKissick was given when McKissick was in those like prime, PPR years. Gibson is a much better player, much more explosive, and the price tag is the 211. To me, I'm like, damn, I mean, this could be a real career year for Gibson through the air, specifically through the air. And I like the risk reward there. And yeah, you brought up Rashad Penny. I'm with you. I was going to say, am I the only one that's like kind of in love with Rashad Penny in Philadelphia? Like if they don't draft a running back high, which they could, if they don't draft a running back high, then and Rashad Penny stays healthy, 2 big ifs, the 211, like there's no question he's worth more than that. And those are the 2 questions that you have to get past. Rashad Penny, when healthy, every analytic says he's a top 5 running back. Every analytic. It's just, can he stay healthy? But at the 211, I mean, I'm willing to risk it. At the wide receiver spot, this is a great John Mechie buy. If Bryce Young does end up being a Texan, then there could be a great connection there. And Brandon Cooks, someone I brought as a win now target in January, he is now on the Cowboys, still affordable at the 211. So if you're a win now team, again, like I'm seeing guys like Brandon Cooks and Tyler Lockett, their price point, and I'm thinking like, why would I buy the Amari Coopers, like respectfully, like why would I buy the Amari Coopers, the D-Hops, like these guys who are hotter names, but maybe you're going to get the same production elsewhere. And if you need a tight end, I'm all aboard drafting a tight end, but this is Trey McBride range. And I brought him as a buy low option before, but this is yet another reason why I don't think I'm going tight ends early in rookie drafts, because the first tight end drafted last year is available at the 211. Second round draft capital. Ertz was injured, and still his value hasn't really risen this offseason. So I'd be willing to do that for Trey McBride. And then I've talked about this before, but I want to cash in on Isaiah Likely. If I can get anywhere from like the 210 to the 212 for Likely, I want to cash in. It's a fun story. He went off in that preseason game, but again, even if Lamar's back, like where does he fit in this offense? It's just, I don't see him ever being a player that you can start consistently.
Okay. All right, 212. Best player available there at the 212 for a quarterback. Just keep that in mind. Don't overthink it. Just go there. A running back I definitely want to talk about is Damian Harris. And I know we kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier with James Cook. This is a guy 2 years removed from being a top 15 running back, right? On nearly 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns that year. That was the reason why he was winning you fantasy championships, because he was the goal line guy. And for the Bills to pick him up, best believe he's going to be the goal line guy. Best believe they don't want Josh Allen to be running and putting his body on the line as often, right? And then we saw that repercussion last year. We saw the repercussions with Lamar Jackson. So I think they are definitely doing this, and I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy to pay the price point at the 212 rather than the earlier second round pick for James Cook. As much as I like James Cook, this is a guy I'm happy to buy in right now, even if it's for a year in a win now window. Once again, running back 14 in 2021. He was a guy that was getting all the work on the ground and in the goal line. Wide receivers, there's a couple guys I would say I'm not necessarily in love with. This is a range like you either find these diamond guys, right? The diamond in the hay, right? You really got to find out those guys where you can get them. Donovan Peoples-Jones, right? Elijah Moore is there. What's going to happen? Do you take a swing on him? Do you take a swing on a DJ Chark that goes to Carolina for the 1 year, right? Do you take a swing on a Nico Collins if they don't draft another wide receiver, right? This is the range where you can just take a shot here because essentially this is the third round pick, right? Like you go and get your guy. You go and get a guy. Do you believe in a Terrence Marshall? Do you believe in Isaiah Hodgins, right? Like it's a big range, and maybe when you look at the calculator, it's not going to say even. But if you believe the workload's there, if you believe that uptick is going to be coming in the draft cap, and that team didn't draft those wide receivers, in the early draft rounds, then I'm happy to take a shot. And once again, all those people, KJ Osborne, right? I bought him as a buy low once or a waiver wire pickup, whatever the case may be. Definitely a guy you can do. And the tight ends, kind of like what Zach said, there's a couple guys I'm happy to take a chance on, but you just got to swing. You just got to swing. You got to believe in some of these guys. Do you go with one of these rookie guys, or do you get a? Can you get a Dawson? I mean, I don't want to do Dawson now. Can you get a Mike Gesicki now that's on a new team, right? With the Patriots. Do you go for Irv Smith that's on the Bengals here at the 212, right? Like, do you try and swindle Jake Ferguson if they don't draft the quarter? You just take a chance here in the tight end position, I will believe. So a Hayden Hurst, that's another guy. A Hayden Hurst here, I think could be a really good one. Just you got to take a couple swings here at the end of the 12th round at the 212. Excuse me. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about trading there.
Yes. Okay. This is a long video. So I want to know who made it to the end. Last time we did a long video, I said, what was your favorite TV show? And we saw who made it to the end.
We saw.
By the way, I need to watch Succession because apparently everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
If you stayed all the way to the end of this video, I want to know the best movie you have seen in 2023. Do us a favor, guys. Drop a like to show some support. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content, and we will see you in the next one. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.